Taylor announces a new album, and before a single lyric drops, the headlines start telling you what not to think. Blake Lively hasn't spoken on camera, but her name is everywhere. Calm explainers, anonymous source quotes, and gentle reminders about family ties. That's not silence, that's strategy. It's the art of pre-bunking, shaping how you'll hear a song before you can even press play. Tonight, we trace the footprint, the rapid-fire pieces that say the track isn't about Blake, the "they're not speaking" narrative that softens backlash either way, and the moral nudge that shames fans for connecting dots. We'll put the receipts on screen, show how the talking points echo across outlets, and map the window between Taylor's reveal and those PR pivots. If you felt the conversation being guided, you're not imagining it. Blake may be quiet, but her team is everywhere, and the narrative is already in motion right now. Start with the moment everything shifted. Taylor reveals the new album and drops the track titles on a big stage. No lyrics, no context, just names, and that's enough to ignite headlines. Within hours, the conversation splits in two. Swifties decoding Easter eggs and explainers telling you not to read too much into it. That's our baseline. A vacuum of lyrics creates a vacuum of meaning. In that vacuum, strategy thrives. This is where Blake Lively's name enters without Blake saying a word. Outlets package the news, then slip in softeners. Don't speculate. It's not about her. They're still family. It looks like reporting. It works like framing. Subtle, but deliberate. We map the order of operations. First, the announcement. Then, the track list with lightning rod titles fans connect to friendship. Right behind it, the nothing to see here wave. Articles that pre-bunk interpretations before the music exists. Finally, a thread appears. Whispers that Blake and Taylor aren't speaking. Two narratives timed to the same reveal, walking opposite directions yet ending the same, lowering heat on Blake before the album can rise. For this chapter's visuals, anchor everything in dates and screen grabs. Announce post, track card, first explainers, not speaking item. Circle phrases, tag timestamps, and keep the sequence tight on a timeline bar for viewers. The point isn't proving guilt or innocence, it's showing tempo and choreography. When the music isn't out yet, timing is the loudest lyric. Before the lyrics exist, interpretation does. That's the whole point of pre-bunking. Flood the zone with calm explanations and anonymous quotes, so the audience arrives at the album with their conclusions already softened. Notice the shape of these pieces. They open with the basic news, title, release date, a few track names, then pivot to tone policing. They reassure you that fan decoding is overzealous, that friendship drama is internet imagination, that nothing in those titles should be read as a message to her. The language repeats. Phrases like "a source tells us," "unlikely to be about," "people are misreading," and the evergreen "remember their family." That last line is a quiet pressure valve. It doesn't argue facts, it nudges emotion. You are being guided to feel that speculation is mean-spirited, that restraint is classy, that the kind thing is to disconnect the track list from Blake entirely. Timing matters. These explainers land within hours of Taylor's reveal, not days later. That speed is the tactic. When curiosity is highest, the frame is set. By the time clips, leaks, or official lyrics appear, the public conversation has a trench dug straight down the middle, one side labeled thoughtful, the other labeled hateful. Your job as a viewer is simple. Read the headlines again, out loud, and highlight the hedging words. Ask who benefits from you believing this before evidence appears. Pre-bunking doesn't need to be true to be effective. It only needs to arrive first and sound reasonable. Timing and careful wording matter. 2 lanes, 1 destination. On one side, the "we're not speaking" storyline. Tidy, humane, and conveniently non-accusatory. On the other, the "don't read the track as about Blake" explainer. Equally tidy, equally humane. They look like opposing narratives, but they solve the same problem: diffuse the audience before the music arrives. The "aren't speaking" angle lowers expectations of public unity. If you don't see photos, likes, or inside jokes, that's not drama, it's normal. Translation: no proof of a feud required because distance has already been pre-authorized. Meanwhile, the "not about her" lane diminishes fan decoding. If titles feel pointed, you're told that's projection. Translation: even if the words sting, it's coincidental. Notice how both rely on strategic ambiguity. No hard denials, no sworn confirmations, just soft cushions. A source says, "unlikely," don't jump to conclusions. Add the family card, the Godmother reminder, as an emotional speed bump. It reframes curiosity as impolite and positions restraint as moral. Why run both lanes? Because they catch different viewers. Skeptics accept the rift without scandal. Loyalists accept the album without subtext. Either way, the temperature falls around Blake. That's the genius of dual-track messaging. Contradictory headlines that are, functionally, complementary. For the edit, put the aren't speaking headline beside the not about her explainer. Highlight the hedging verbs. Drop a lower third that reads, adjacent truths equals shared goal. Then punch in with a narrator line. If both stories can be true, neither has to be proven. The outcome is the same. Less heat on Blake before anyone hears a single lyric. Watch how a quiet PR push speaks loudly without a single on-camera quote. It begins with the proxy voice. Those weightless phrases like a source says and close to the situation. They give an article the tone of authority while keeping hands clean if the story shifts later. From there, the tone leans ethical. Headlines in Stand First nudge readers toward don't speculate, be kind, remember the family. Curiosity is recast as cruelty. The virtuous choice becomes restraint. As that tone settles in, the same wording starts appearing across multiple outlets within the same 48 hours. You're not hearing one opinion. You're hearing an echo until it feels like consensus. At the same time, parallel narratives are placed side by side. It's, they aren't speaking in one place, and the song isn't about her in another. They never need to reconcile. They simply give every audience segment a comfortable landing so heat disperses before the music can add oxygen. Timing is the secret ingredient. This wave hits in the narrow window between Taylor's reveal and any lyric leaks or official context, setting the frame first so later facts must fight uphill to reframe the story. Threaded through all of it is empathy armor, reminders of godparent ties, years of friendship, and shared history. Those details humanize Blake and make sharp interpretations feel impolite. None of this proves anything about the songs themselves, but it does shape how the public will hear them. Once you notice the proxies, the moral cues, and the repetition, you can see the machinery steering the narrative long before a single lyric drops. When release day hits, the first question isn't, what does Taylor mean? It's, how fast do the narratives pivot? The frame we've traced is already in place. Calm explainers, source-led assurances, a soft reminder to be polite. Now, the lyrics arrive and pressure test the scaffolding. Pay attention to tempo. If the words feel pointed, do headlines double back within hours to reinterpret metaphors, emphasize alternative readings, or elevate entirely different tracks as the real story? Rapid reframing is the tell. It signals that pre-bunking was a holding pattern, not a conclusion. Watch the sourcing too. Early coverage loves the cushion of anonymity. Post-release coverage sometimes gets bolder. If named representatives appear, publicists, attorneys, on-record quotes, that's a sign the stakes just rose. Silence can also be strategic. Sometimes the strongest move after a pre-bunk wave is to say nothing and let the first cycle burn out. Either way, the contrast between pre-release whispers and post-release posture reveals who feels confident. Optics matter as much as paragraphs. A like, an unlike, a photo, a conspicuous absence at a public moment. These small visuals become pressure valves, cooling or spiking speculation. If the aren't speaking line has done its job, distance won't read as drama. It will read as expected. If not, even a small gesture can detonate a fresh round of decoding. Finally, watch the tone of the morality play. Do columns keep nudging readers away from connecting dots? Or does the conversation accept that audiences will interpret art through relationships? The answer determines whether the pre-bunking holds or collapses. In the end, the music won't just tell a story, it will measure the strength of the framing around Blake. If the lyrics echo the headline's comfort, the narrative hardens. If they conflict, the PR machine has to choose, double down, pivot, or go quiet and hope the songs fade faster than the receipts. That's the play. Speak softly, shape loudly. Taylor's titles lit the match. The headlines built the firebreak. Blake hasn't stepped to a mic, yet the message is everywhere. Pre-bunks, aren't speaking, and Godmother reminders guiding how you'll hear the album before it plays. When the lyrics land, track 3 things: speed of the media pivot, who speaks on the record, and the small optics that shout. If the framing holds, curiosity cools. If the words cut, watch for sudden reinterpretations or sudden silence. We'll line up every receipt. Drop yours in comments. Timing is the loudest lyric. See you on release day.